What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video today. It is time that we talk about, or actually, not talk about, take another political compass test. Now, as many of you know, during the holiday season, I try to do one or two political compass tests to see how my political beliefs have changed over the past couple of years. Now, this time we're taking the Shapley Values test, in my opinion, the best overall. It's not that long, but it does usually give a reasonable answer. But first, before we continue with today, I hope everyone's having a phenomenal Thanksgiving. Again, this is a pre-recorded video. I'm spending time with my family, so hope everyone else is also. Hope everyone's having a just great holidays, just happy Thanksgiving. Before I forget, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Guys, just for $8 a month, you can join Real American. This is the best way to support the daily content that we all know and love. So I hope and recommend you join the channel today. Alright, everybody. Now let me be clear. This is a more fun, lighthearted tone video focused on where do I stand generally on the issues. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. It's special, I guess, so let's get into it. State schools are a bad idea because our state shouldn't be influencing our children. Ooh, start off with a tough one. Okay. I'm gonna say I agree just because look at what's happened the past 15 years in our schools. More like past 5, but you could just say past 20 years, whatever. Our schools are a joke that are ran by the state. I mean, they're teaching kids to hate themselves. They're teaching them, you're not actually, a man. You're a woman or something. It's like, no. So I would say in concept, it could be a good idea, but it's not good right now. The death penalty should exist for certain crimes. Strongly agree. No dispute. I mean, if you commit a crime like you killed somebody, yeah. Now, if you robbed the convenience store for $5 and, didn't kill anybody, it's like that. Not death penalty, but if you killed somebody, I think should be a death penalty. All industry in the bank should be nationalized. No, never works. It has never have, never will. Laws based on cultural values rather than ethical ones aren't justice. I disagree. There are many laws in American history that are based on cultural values. Now some of them aren't good. I'm not denying that. But I would say, if done correctly, laws based on culture, which you can make an argument most laws in America, are positive, are generally a positive thing. So I disagree with this one. Authority figures, if morally correct, are a good thing for society. Strongly agree. It's like if the guy is using power effectively, like has a lot of power, but he's being good about it, he's moral about it, he's not like a full-blown nut job, it's a good thing. You do need good authority figures in any society. So I strongly agree. The current welfare system should be expanded to further combat inequality. I disagree. I think it should be more simplified. I think it should just be a negative income tax. Go look up Milton Friedman's negative income tax. My opinion, that's the best way to do it. Shrink the welfare state. Make it very simple. So instead of, you make more money at home, not working than you would at getting a job, make it just, the more money you earn, the more money you're going to make. It's just common sense to me. Not like, oh, if I earn less than, say, $30,000, $1 less, I can get $10,000 extra. Just an example. If I make $1 more, I lose that $10,000. That's stupid. That's current welfare system. So there's inequality, but this is not the way to do it. Just reform it. Communism is an ideal that can never work in practice. Strongly agree. It will never work. Never have, never will. Never has, I should say. It's just garbage. It's garbage ideology. It just won't work, so it will never work. Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. Strongly disagree, that's stupid. If you want to buy land, go buy land. If you want to sell land, sell land. Shouldn't be banned for whatever reason. Freedom of business is the best practical way a society can prosper. Economically, yeah, but you have to make sure it's not full-blown corporatism where, oh, when we talk about freedom of business, we're talking about the top 1% of businesses. Screw the little guy. If you talk about freedom of small business, absolutely. It's the best way a society can prosper. But if you're talking about corporatism, no. I agree with this. The government should at most provide emergency services and law enforcement. Disagree. Of course they should provide them. But I do think that the government should have more services than just, or should provide more than just emergency services and law enforcement. And I do think there is some kind of need to make sure poor people do have some kind of, safety net. So I do disagree. I'm not talking about what we currently got, but yeah. In terms of crisis, safety becomes more important than civil liberty. Strongly disagree. We saw what happened after 9/11, where, we have to protect the American people with the Patriot Act. Well, they violated civil liberties and not good. So I strongly disagree with this one. Autonomy of body extends even to minors, the mentally ill, and serious criminals. Oh boy. Oh, that's a tough one. If you didn't include minors, I would say agree. This is a tough one. Because when you say that, are you including stuff like, transitioning from one gender to the other? If that's the case, no. I don't think a minor should be able to make the decision. But an argument can be made that, the mentally ill and the serious criminals, it's a tough one. I'm going to say just generally disagree. There are, of course, some circumstances, but, if they're not mentally fit to make the decision, they probably shouldn't. Animals deserve certain universal rights, absolutely. I mean, it just seems like common sense. You cannot torture an animal for whatever horrific science study you're doing. Multiculturalism is bad. Strongly agree. I mean, this is going to get a lot of people pissed off, but it's like, it doesn't work. Listen, I'm not saying, you have to ban other cultures. I'm just saying that this idea of importing 10 million people from completely separate and different cultures from our own, it's not good. It doesn't function. No society has ever been a multicultural state. It never has. It never will. It's a bad idea. Again, I'm fine with other cultures existing, but like in America, we're importing people that have nothing in common with us. Not just a few, which is that's one thing, but it's tens of millions of people the past 20 years. So it's clearly causing problems. I mean, look at our inner cities. They're a mess right now. So I strongly agree. Jury nullification should be illegal. All right, I'm just making sure I read that. Yeah, it's bad. Jury nullification should be illegal. Strongly disagree. Again, you could say a law is awful. You should not do this crap of, we're going to protest the law by purposely, ruining this case. We're going to make up some ruling. We don't even care about the evidence. Strongly disagree. Organizations and corporations cannot be trusted and need to be regulated by the government. I agree. That doesn't mean, we have total control. It's like, no, just make sure you're not dumping crap in the water. So I agree. One cannot be moral without religion. Disagree. I know plenty of people that are non-religious, and they're moral. They're moral people. They're good people. They just don't believe that much in religion, So I disagree with it. But there are studies have shown that the more religious you are, you tend to be more moral. You tend to answer more morally right questions. So I disagree. Two consenting individuals should be able to do whatever they want with each other, even if it makes you uncomfortable. If it said adults, I would say agree. But when you say individuals, you're opening a can of worms for 30-year-old men to be doing you know what with 12-year-old girls. It's like, that's the problem with this question, and I hate how it's worded. If it's two consenting adults, like 25 and 24 or whatever, and they do something in bed that may make me sick to my core, I can care less. If they do it in public, that's a different story. So I'm just neutral. An argument can be made. Transgender individuals should not be able to adopt children. Oh boy. I agree. Listen. It's factual. I'm not even trying to bash people for it. I'm just saying it's a fact. Those that are transgender tend to have significantly higher rates of mental disorders. I'm not even trying to bash them for it. I'm just saying that a lot of people, they need help. Not just because of their condition, it's just factual. It's like some crazy 80% have some kind of mental disorder of transgender individuals. So I don't think in most cases a transgender should be allowed to adopt a child. Now, there's a difference, if somebody was born and then they had some kind of disorder, that's one thing. But if you're like 30 or whatever and you're suddenly a woman or whatever, and you have some history of mental disorders, I don't know, so I agree with it. The government should be less involved in the day-to-day life of its citizens. I agree. Without democracy, a society is nothing. Strongly disagree. That's such a stupid question. It's like there's been plenty of successful societies that didn't have democracy. So I disagree. A person should be able to worship whomever or whatever they want. Outside of a satanic cult, I agree. Nudism is perfectly natural. I don't know that. I'm not even going to answer that. I don't freaking know. Economic inequality is too high in the world. I lean agree. Now, I'm not one of those people that say, oh, it's bad that people are rich. That's stupid. But I do think it's getting to a point where the 1% in this country, they are just absurdly wealthy. While not everyone else is prosperous. Especially the middle class. They are getting screwed. 20 years ago wasn't that big of a problem, but now it's like middle class is dead. That is a big problem that is not good. So I do agree with the idea that economic inequality is too high. Mandatory ID should be used to ensure public safety. Strongly disagree. Stupid. Terrible idea. Not going to go well. Taxation of wealthy is a bad idea. Society would be better off without it. I disagree. The concept of taxing wealthier people higher than normal people, I think it's fine. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying a 90% tax rate's like AOC wants. But, if the average person pays 20%, maybe Elon Musk can pay 30%. I would say it's good for society to help, poor people, so I disagree. Society requires structure and bureaucracy in order to function. I agree. That doesn't mean, what we currently got in America where there's God knows how many government employees, deciding every little thing. With that being said, every society needs structure. Only the government can fairly and effectively regulate organizations. Disagree. We saw with Bud Light that consumers do have power. But government should be involved in, cases of where one company owns 90% of the market. But I disagree. We saw with Bud Light what happened. Consumers said, screw you, this is stupid. And they didn't buy their stuff. The smaller the government, the freer the people. Technically true, but what's the word for it? There are some questions about, if the government's non-existent, but big corporations runs everything. It's like, are you really freer? Don't know. Victimless crime should still be punished. Strongly agree. There's always a victim. The police were not created to protect the people, but to uphold the status quo by force. I disagree. There's some of it where it's like, we gotta maintain order, but I do think the police overall, they were created to, protect people and stuff, but you could say it was created to keep the country stable or whatever. I would just say neutral. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Neutral. Because, yeah, it's like, if you talk about some criminality stuff, it's like, yeah. If you don't have anything to hide, you have nothing to fear. But if you have something really embarrassing that's not illegal, but just like, there's something I don't want people knowing about, that's a little different. So, I'm neutral. Exploitation is an outdated term as the struggles of 1800s capitalism doesn't exist anymore. I agree. Now, there are big problems, but anybody with 5 brain cells understands. We are in a far better situation, than we were in the 1800s when it comes to crony capitalism, whatever you want to call it. Back then, you had 80-hour work weeks for 2 cents a day, Just an example. And while there are some big problems, the conditions are far better. These people that say, oh, there are some, this is worse than the 1800s. Go back in time and just go work in some of the conditions they did. I'm sure you will love that. So, I generally agree. Charity is a better way of helping those in need than social welfare. I strongly agree. Social welfare is needed, but I think that charity has always been better at helping those. Real charities, not the scams that raise $500,000 for some guy's yacht or whatever. So, a government that provides for everyone is inherently a good idea. Absolutely. Provide basic services, making sure everybody has access to healthcare to a lesser extent. I'm not saying universal healthcare, but just like, hey, I can go to a clinic. It doesn't matter my race or whatever. I can go to a medical clinic and get help. Same thing with, the police. Doesn't matter your race. You can call the police if you need help with something. So I agree. Wages are always fair, as employers know best what a worker's labor is worth. Disagree. They sometimes do, but obviously they're trying to pay as little as possible. Strength is necessary for any government to succeed. Yeah. An individual's body is their own property, and they should be able to do anything they desire to it. If they know the warnings to it, and they are an adult, they are mentally able to make a decision, fine. If they know the risk of transitioning, and they do it, go ahead. But if you're a child, that makes me a bit hesitant. Sometimes it is right that the government may spy on its citizens or combat extremists and terrorists. Disagree. Never goes well. Because, okay, if you have a court order saying we can tap this guy's phone to see what he's doing, that's one thing. But to make a surveillance state seeing what everybody's doing for extremism, no. The harder you work, the more you progress up the social ladder. Even today, it is getting, a bit egregious how bad, the system is getting for, progressing up the ladder. But generally speaking, if you work hard, you're gonna go up the ladder, one way or the other. Gender is a social construct, not a natural state of affairs. Oh boy. Now, on one hand, you can make the argument that for the entirety of human history, whatever culture it's been, the man provided for the woman and the family, while the woman stayed at home and did whatever. That tends to be what history has shown, that it's a man that's the breadwinner and all of that. But if it's just, just society evolved with that and just we decided very early on and they just kept it, I don't know. I think it's a natural state of affairs. I think it's kind of human nature for whatever reason. Just, hey, generally speaking, a man is the one that is the breadwinner. He's the one that provides for the family while the woman takes care of the kids, for example. I'm not saying every case has to be like that. I'm just saying that I think it's natural, so I disagree. Drugs are harmful. I'm just making sure, it's the concept of gender. So I think it's a natural state of affairs. Drugs are harmful and should be banned. I agree. I'm talking about cocaine, meth and all that stuff. It is human nature to be greedy. Strongly agree. Everybody that's honest with themselves, they're greedy in some way or the other. Parents should hold absolute power over their children. Yes. No question about it. Homosexuality is against my values. Oh boy. The idea of like, listen, and especially with the Catholic Church, you know, the big problem is like, it's one thing if you're gay, it's like, okay, you know, you just are attracted to your own gender. That's one thing. It is against the values of the church to act upon it, you know, get married with another gay dude, you know, it is against my values. So it's just factual. Class, the primary division of society. Strongly agree. They try to make it about race, but when you look at it, it's class. Class is the biggest division. All right. Yes. Yes. Give me the results. And, ooh, okay. So surprisingly, I'm like centrist on authoritarian and liberty. That doesn't mean I'm like a libertarian or anything on social issues, but I think it just means that, you know, I'm a bit more open-minded to like, you know, making sure there's no surveillance states, stuff like that. But obviously I'm conservative on stuff like, you know, gay marriage or something like that. So I actually generally agree with it. Economically, yeah, I would say I'm more center. I'm more pragmatic. I look at everything with a overhead view of like, okay, it doesn't matter if it's conservative or not, does it work? Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, I hope everyone's having a phenomenal Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. Godspeed to all of you.